morning, everyone, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we enjoy each other's company. We love experimenting and sharing information and supporting one another, and sometimes doing a little business together. So I welcome my green room participants this morning, and I will be inviting them to introduce themselves. Oh, there's Jay, just popped in time. So my name is Loa Lan, and my business is called Work Style Lifestyle Consulting. And I do consulting and coaching especially for solopreneurs, helping them become more efficient because they wear so many different hats, helping them with their online presence and helping them maintain their focus on the important things. So, as you can see in my lower third, you can find lots more about what I do and what I offer at loaland.com. So welcome, everybody. Let's see. I think it was Tim who got here first this morning. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Lan. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Longwell from Southeast Oklahoma. My business is Longwell Art. You can find us at longwellart.com. I share the business with my son and fellow artist, Isaac Longwell, and we work to helping you reignite your creativity so that you can gain health and happiness.
And we had a wonderful conversation before everybody arrived this morning about
it was
the value.
It was about creativity.
Yeah, creativity was great. So thank you for that. Roland, I think you were the next one here.
Good morning. Roland from MinMax Media, coming at you from Southern California. It is indeed sunny. My primary thing is sponsoring a show on Saturdays called Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. I also developed the VCP plugin so we can have events in our own real estate. And I'm very excited because this week we're going to be announcing our Give First contest winner and also introducing to my particular realm a bit of technology that apparently nobody else is using yet. When I say nobody else is using it, early adopters are one thing. We are early adopters, so we'll be announcing that Saturday.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll all have to be there.
Yep. That would be cool.
Yeah. So welcome here, and thank you for your musical support, Roland. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Paul, I think you were the next one here.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My company is TTG International Management, and we simply turn ideas into profitable actions. And I'm sitting here in overcast downtown, well, close to downtown Victoria, about a stone's throw from Lowland. So we're looking forward to what we get at today.
Welcome here, Paul. Good to see you. Fred, I think you were the next person here.
Good morning. I'm Fred Jones. I'm also located in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, in the area anyway. Probably a cannon shot from Jay. I'm currently in someone else's house in Colwood, so not far from Langford. And I'm work with a lot of young people with ourfutureleaders.ca, where I try and help them and often assist them with their self-confidence, communication skills, etc. And I do that online. So it's a great, I've got groups of children I'm working with Saturday and Sunday mornings now, and Friday evenings starting now that school's back. So I've got face-to-face groups as well that I work with.
Oh, we'd like to hear more about that at some point. Cool.
Right.
Welcome here, Fred. It's always nice to have you. Now, I think Alana was the next one here.
Hello? Hi, Alana here, coming to you from Ireland. I run a blog called emptynesterblog.com, where I help empty nesters make online income, and I also have a virtual assistant business. So yeah, it's a very warm day here in Ireland, so yeah, nice to have the good weather.
Right on. Good to have you. I've never visited Ireland, so maybe that's what'll have to be on my bucket list. Yeah, I forgot to say that somewhere along the way, didn't I? In my introduction, I forgot to say where I am. But Paul gave that away. So Jay, last but not least.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and my company is Magi Studios, where we help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach, consulting, and training. And I'm very excited to be here, especially since we're going to be receiving free gifts today. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't that what the topic is? Giving free stuff to Jay? At least that's what I read. And I'd like to Paul, I'd like to know what laundry detergent you do, because that is a really nice shirt. That is whiter than white. That is really, I really like that shirt. Who's your tailor?
He's not answering. He's just,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
smiling.
Yeah.
It's all in the camera settings.
Yeah, two things you don't tell another man is where you found your fishing spots and who your tailor is.
Oh, I discovered another one that you don't ever ask another woman, and that is where do you pick your cranberries? That's a northern joke. a far northern joke. Right. Oh dear. But women sure do share where they buy their clothes. That's never a no-no. Oh, interesting. So I'm happy that everyone is here this morning to help me sort of explore this topic of the value of offering freebies. And I thought it might be interesting for us to begin by kind of unpacking, why do people, our audiences online, why do they look for free things? Anybody have any sense of that?
Well, I don't think they, well, it depends on the audience, but I think primarily people don't go out and look for free things. I think they are presented with free things, and then they they investigate further. I mean, there is the flip side of that coin, where there's people who do like extreme couponing and whatnot, where they actively go out and try to find things that are free or BOGOs, buy one get one free kind of things. So, but I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't think people are actively going out to try to find free things. I think if they're deal hounds, they're going to be always looking for that next best deal. And in my opinion, from a marketer's perspective, that's not my audience. My audience isn't the deal hound. My audience is the individual or the group that's looking for a solution, and they also understand the value of that solution.
Okay, so looking for a solution. I guess the question came up, and it came about as a result of actually a conversation I had with my walking partner this morning, when we were sort of unpacking what we all thought about the internet way back when it all started. Everything on there was supposed to be free and open, and that there has always been kind of an expectation that everything on the internet should be wide open and free. That a lot of people come to the web with that kind of mindset. So I hear you, Jay, when you say they may not be looking for a deal or looking for something free, but maybe they just come with that expectation from the the history of the web. And I guess the other thing that I was wondering is how many of us here in what we're doing online, I guess we're speaking mainly about online business now, how many of us offer something for free on our website? I know I offer a lot of things for free on my website.
I actually, when it comes to stuff on a website, I think it's really important not to feature that don't say it too much, I should say, that it's free, and try to spin some of those words around, because in my opinion, the word free devalues whatever it is that you're offering. Yeah. So when you say, hey, I've got a free course, then, people kind of go, oh, it's free. And then they don't see it. They're like, okay, they'll sign up, but then they don't kind of walk into that mindset of it having any value. Mm-hmm. So, I think if you people automatically assume, especially if it's something complimentary, that's from your website in exchange for an email address or phone number or whatever, people assume that it's going to be free. But I think if you actually take that word away and say, hey, I've got a 10-day course available for you right now, fill in your name, get started right away. I think that's sufficient, where you don't just say it's actually free, or, put a price tag behind it, So if there's a way that you can, and this isn't for everyone's website, but I think if you can put some sort of value behind whatever it is you're giving away without saying that it's free, or say that it's free and put some value behind the product or the service or whatever it is you're giving away. I really do think, you ever go to a garage sale and there's always that, you can go see stuff for sale. And then there's always that bin that has the word free on it with magic marker. And it's probably written on with the person's other hand, and it's just decrepit box.
It's usually full of junk.
Yeah, exactly. So no one goes to it, or at least at the end of the day, people are, filtering through it, right? Give you a really good example is there's a domain registrar on the internet called namecheap.com. And right now they have a sale where you can buy domain names for, I think it's 68 cents or something, literally 68 or 38 cents, something really, really ridiculously inexpensive. And it's funny because it's such a bargain. It's such a bargain bin type of mentality. Buy your domain name, 68 cents. Now, of course, the domain names aren't .coms, .orgs, or .nets, or .cas. They're .names or .hello or go away, whatever.
Wow.
So they can't even give these things away, so it's perceived value. I think perceived value is I honestly think if Namecheap upped the price, they would sell more of them.
Really? Okay.
I really do, because there's that perceived value, because everyone expects domain names to be around anywhere from $10 to $20 per annum. Mm-hmm. So I think when you drop the price down that low, it puts a tag on there. It's well, those are domain extensions that have no value. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, I'm going to get off my soapbox here. I've been.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. I'm just looking at my own thing. My title does say it's free. Maybe I need to think of a different way of saying it or putting a value on it. Yeah. Right. What about others here? Who else is offering things that they don't? Well, let's not use the word free then. Who offers things that are not paid for?
Yeah, I mean, I do. So
Yeah, right.
You know, it's a lead capture. So, you know, it's where I offer a drip campaign, a 10-day drip campaign for 10 days. And, you know, throughout that, you know, the irony too is that the end result, the call to action within that course is to get people to sign up to a membership. And that's actually, it's a free membership. Yet I make a gallant effort not to say the word free within the course. You know, I actually call it a starter, and I put zero cost, you know, things like that. So there are several synonyms that one can use from the word free that are, the other thing, you know, you have to keep in mind is sometimes the word free in a title is of an email could be flagged as spam for some people. Yeah. So you have to also be careful with the word free, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was looking at an interesting approach the other day where someone had set up their philosophy was, look, I give you all of my best stuff for nothing, like it's free, it's out there. And I have two sections. I have a DIY, you can do it yourself, or you can hire us to do it. The person about that, and I said, so how does that work for you? He says, well, people start going down the DIY, and he says, they figure out that their time is worth something, and they usually end up as customers. So I thought that was an interesting approach.
Yeah. So I see that Aaron has joined us. Aaron, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone? Sorry you didn't get to hear everybody's introduction.
It's more like warn everybody. I'm a stroke survivor with a speech deficit. So I'm going to warn you guys. I have to talk to me slowly.
Aha.
But how are you, honey? How's things, sister?
We're all fine.
Okay. So, okay, go ahead. I'm Aaron Alblush, and I'm going to sit here quietly on the side. Roland can speak for me if he wants.
Okay. Welcome here, Aaron. I heard about you actually on Roland's Saturday Morning Smarties. So
he is an amazing man. You all are amazing. What you're doing is amazing to me. I'm just amazing. This morning, I think I found out how to stream OBS to Google Hangouts. I could do it now, but I want to stage a show. But I think I figured out a way. Roland and I will experiment with it this afternoon.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I'll be quiet now.
Well, welcome here, Aaron. Yeah. So just to kind of get back to our conversation, Alana, were you waving that you wanted to add what do you offer things that you don't seek payment for? I'm not using the word free.
Well, I think Tim was the one that was waving his hand, if I'm not mistaken, but I do, you know, I'll certainly jump in here. I don't offer anything free as of yet, but I am working on it, and I have a mental block about it. That's a whole other story. But in relation to the word free, it almost seems like it has a negative connotation now. And I don't know if it's just me or if others have experienced going on websites and seeing something that's offered with the word free. And my first thought is, what's the catch? So, you know, I'm always looking for the catch now. So free almost is a negative connotation for me now. So yeah, I think, you know, using other words other than the word free probably is the best way around that. But then I wonder if people are wondering, okay, is there a cost down the line, and will they still make that click if it isn't spelled out? But if you use a word other than free, then perhaps you will.
Okay. That's
Excuse me.
really, really interesting.
Excuse me. Can I say something?
Yes.
Word free to me has been over marketed to no end. The word free usually it means money, and it it's what it means now. So we have to develop a word different than free that means the same powerful thing. So maybe low cost. I don't know what the word is.
No cost.
Free has been abused.
Yeah. Okay. So, Fred, what about you? Was it you that was waving?
No, it wasn't me. Aaron, I can just say, can you mute your mic? Because every time you make a noise, the screen goes to you. And there's a little picture at the top with the mic. And if you click that, it'll mute your mic. Okay. No, it wasn't me, but I really agree with a lot of what's been said so far. You know, Jay would use zero cost, and that's maybe a word that Aaron was looking for. And I also like what Paul said about the two types. I have to do it yourself, and then people realize that doing it yourself is not as easy or inexpensive as having maybe someone else do it for you. And Eben Pagan, who you may have heard of, has always said, move the free line. Now, and again, not using the word free, but you offer your best stuff without any charge, because people will realize that, yes, that is very, very good, that what you have to offer, but it's not easy to do. And sometimes we need assistance. And that's where, as Paul said, hey, you know, it's more valuable to get you to do it. And that's, that approach works. But I really enjoy, I get a lot of emails from all these people offering me these free webinars, and occasionally I'll join in to watch them. And they give you maybe 20 minutes of their quote unquote, and then another 30 minutes to trying to sell you. And it really has, as Alana said, tainted the word free, because they, oh, I got this free webinar, but you know there's a pitch at the end to join and pay and money. And that's what I think Aaron was saying, that it's free has become tainted now, because there's so much, everybody's using this approach. Oh, I'll tell you how great I am, and now you can pay for me. Oh, it really is terrible. And it's all over the internet now. It's just unbelievable. So I think that's the general gist of my attitude. I really agree what Aaron said, Jay has said, and Paul has said in that regard, because that's it. Just, you know, but there is a way to show them that you know what you're doing, you're very good at it, and assistance without becoming too salesy. So it's a valuable, as Eben Pagan said, show them that you're good, that you know what you're talking about, so and that you can help.
So offer your best stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
offer it and show them and explain. And if they can do it themselves, they don't need you anyway. So fine. But a lot of them can't. And then they'll, yeah. So it's a great approach, but it's not using the word free or even conning them to come somewhere because it's free, and then sell them for, you know, really, I find I switch it off at the end. I just want to watch how they do it and say, man, are you bad? You don't know how bad you are doing that. Well, that's my soapbox.
And Fred, I would agree with you. I mean, I find myself signing up for various things, often out of curiosity to see what, you know, how it's going to go. And what I find is, and that's getting, we're getting toward that whole thing about you get this thing free in exchange for offering your email address. And but then what I find is that you get constant emails from that person trying to sell you something, sell. And I mean, there's quite often there's really not very much of value in those emails. So then you have to go through the trouble of unsubscribing. And the other piece around this whole thing about email addresses in exchange for something is that I've noticed that lots of people have a throwaway email address that they use for that, and it's of no value to you. So, so that's my take on that whole exchange. So, Roland, you were signaling that you had something.
Caught me off guard now.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No, the market today with the whole word, those two words, freebie or free and webinar, they go hand in hand because it's a conditioning that the overall market has given to the people, the general masses, to believe that a webinar is not a webinar. It's just an hour-long sales pitch. And free is not free because nothing's free. Nothing's free. I mean, virtually nothing's free. I like to be able to believe that I do a lot of output that is free. But indeed, I'm in business to do business, and business includes putting money in my pocket. But the way I go about it and the reputation that I build around that is what counts. So my effort and my offer of a so-called freebie is to offer basically my best stuff, teach people what I know. If they ask me a question, I give them the full answer, not a leader into hiring me. And then that's me being as authentic as I can be. But the reason that people don't like what's happening with freebie and webinar is because of how people have abused the term and the modus operandi of how they use it. Because a webinar now it's a bad word. And freebie is also a bad word, but that's a conditioning that the marketers have placed on it. And when I say marketers, there are a lot of good marketers out there, but there are a lot of scam artists too. And you mix that all together, it's kind of an ugly soup, right? So that's the thing. I think that we can still use freebies and we can still use webinars, but the way I do it is I have a Saturday morning marketing Smarties show, and it doesn't have to be called a webinar, but it's almost the same as a webinar. The only difference is I'm not trying to get something out of the people at the end to opt in or something. I do want their comments, but that's all I'm trying to generate. But that's for the sake of building the reputation of what I deliver.
Okay, that's a really, really good point. So Tim, it looks like you, thank you for wrangling. Let's see if I can see it. You should not put any value to the stuff that you provide. It is the other person who can put a value. You can only put a price on your stuff. Again, price is different from value, and that's from Vivek, our friend in the UK. Thank you, Tim, for doing that for me.
Vivek, he had directed that to me based on what I was talking about, putting a price behind something that you're offering for free. Quick question for Paul. Paul, how many times does one have to say no in the sales cycle before they actually end up saying yes? Is it five or seven? That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
7, I think. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Right. Okay. So the whole free thing, right, or the whole complimentary thing, or however you want to label it or call it. You know, I'm hearing stories of people saying, "Well, I signed up to this because, you know, I wanted to give it a try and this and that," and then all of a sudden they offered me something and I was like, "Oh my gosh," I was so offended, you know, like, "Oh, that's not very good." Well, here's the thing: is you signed up to that webinar or whatever in the first place, so they did a good job. You know, they managed to get you your information, right? So there's value in that. So in essence, that person has attained what they're initially going out for in exchange for that free webinar or free information. Yeah, of course people are going to sell to you. I mean, that's just the nature of the business. You know, that's just how it works. I think the big thing is, if you're offering something, there needs to be a middle person, right? Because when you're saying, this is free, come to my free webinar. And then at the other end, you have the yang of the yin saying, okay, now buy this. It's $100, right? There needs to be something where it's a little bit less, it's not such a sticker shock, you know? So, maybe something where it goes free webinar. Okay, so let's get you to join this training, which is perhaps it's a 10-day complimentary training. Throughout that training, you drop subtle hints of the advanced training or the next level training instead of going free webinar, buy this, right? And I think that's why a lot of people kind of go, oh my God, why are you offering this to me? Why are you trying to sell me this? Because I'm here for free. You know, I think if there's a progression versus free buy, then, it would be much better. Like I made a sign that says, free is a low value mindset. So if you say that this webinar is going to be free, or if you're saying, come join this webinar, this free training, then the person who's going to be joining has that bargain bin basement mentality where they're going, okay, it's training, it's free. I know there's going to maybe be something for sale at the end, but whatever, I'll just come check it out anyways. Versus come join this live webinar, or come join our webinar. We're going to be talking about some really new cutting edge training. I hope you join us. Mm-hmm. You say that, then they're going to go, oh, okay, great. And then they know that, they automatically know it's free. You don't have to say the word free. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, I've certainly said a lot. So, I get passionate about this stuff too. Like the whole free.
So Jay, I would just add to the end of that, if I may, that, an effective follow-up to a webinar is the type of thing that you do. And that's a drip campaign where you ask someone to say, if you have an interest, invest 15 minutes a day for the next week or 10 days or 13 days. And it becomes a habit and they get to know you and they see the value in your stuff. That's just taking them to a place where they can make a more informed decision. And if you're providing good stuff and you're a right match, it's a very successful way to lead someone to become a client.
Yeah, and I love how you say the word invest your time. I think that is extremely important because you are investing your time. And I think that's really good. That's another way you can put it instead of saying, free webinar, come invest an hour in us, right? I think that would be far better.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Mm. So what is the value of offering stuff, whatever, service, whatever, at no cost? What is the value of doing it? So Roland has said he sees the value as building reputation. What else?
Education-based marketing. If people don't know what you do or don't know what you offer, they need an education. So what your webinars transferred into a show of some kind or some kind of a presentation that indeed can be free should be something that educates the people so they know more about what you do and what your industry is, so that their need and the value of what they see in you expands.
So learning more about you and your style.
I always use a simple buying process, and attention is the first part of it. And if you have a person come, you've got their attention. The next part is trust, and that's what you're working on there, and you're trying to move them towards want. So that's the process that I see for the value in doing, for example, webinars and things like that.
Okay, so building the trust.
Yeah.
So Tim, what about you? I mean, you're doing little videos, video clips, putting them up on YouTube. You're not charging for those. So what do you think is the value of that?
For one, I'm giving to people, but it requires an investment in their time and their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I provide information that's beneficial to them, I show them how it's beneficial and how to use this information, but it's still up to them to invest in the next step of participation so that they gain value, but they can assign the value, just like Vivek's comment. I'm not assigning a price or value to that particular aspect of it because my business is actually a different business model than what I'm providing for the public as a gift. My goal is to help people in their creativity, because creativity is beneficial for people in literally anything and everything you do. But at the same time, some people aren't satisfied with the limits of their ability for creativity. And it also ties in that artwork, finished art pieces in their homes, in their surroundings, offices, wherever, provide a similar benefit through the effects that emotions or feelings or spirit, if you will, of a given piece of art. So that's where I provide the benefit that they can't accomplish themselves by providing the product of purchasable artwork.
I just hung up some art yesterday in my office, and it's just awesome. Like, so there's, you can all see that. So it's a giant photo of New York City, and I absolutely love it. You know, and I it's, for me, it's an addiction. I love hanging, you know, art, and sometimes I'll make my own, you know, whatever. But I find there's so much value in hanging up art and having art in your home or in your office, because it's you know, colors and provide some sort of value to you, you know. So I think it's fantastic. I think it's great what Tim does. You know, I think he calls it art therapy. Is that did I get the name right? But yeah, I think
it's a form of art therapy, but it's an unguided, unprofessional art therapy, because art therapy is more so for addressing specific issues, and there's a psychological and psychologist level in there that I don't claim or want to represent as being an authority on, because some of the mental health issues, some of them can be helped through personal creativity. Some of them might need additional interpretation to help you deal with the feelings that maybe are causing you to react this way with your art. On the other hand, if it's someone that's, say, suffering from chemotherapy or a long-term illness, a disability forced to you by illness or genetics, you may not necessarily need a therapist, but at the same time, this helps remove some of the stigma that other people inadvertently may place. It helps you deal with your emotions. It forms a method of release for you, and you get a feeling of accomplishment. You start engaging the happy chemicals that are
endorphins. Yeah.
Well, there's endorphins, there's dopamine, there's serotonin and oxytocin, and they're all affected and triggered different ways through creativity or appreciating finished works of art.
So Tim, what I think I'm hearing is what you're doing is offered as a gift that helps people sort of get in touch with their creativity. and helps them that from a business perspective that may lead them back to purchasing your artwork.
Correct.
Have I got that right? Yeah. Okay.
Correct. There's other things that are planned down the line, but for now it's primarily the artwork. If they feel that they can't get something that I produced in a way that they are able to duplicate, then I make that available for sale.
Okay. And so that that business model is a little bit similar to mine. I have lots of material on my website offering it as I see it as offering support to people who are trying to accomplish certain things, and by providing support. And it's a little bit like that sort of DIY thing that Paul talked about. But as time goes on, if they find that they need more support than just the information, then I'm there to offer something in addition. But that's the way I see the things that I give away on my website is a way of offering support. Just as I see this being your own CEO is also a way of offering support. Yeah. So
it's like networking, you know, like quickly going back to art, you know, I think art shows are probably one of the first, or one of the more common ways to offer something for free, which is the attendance of an art show, with the anticipation or expectation of buying something, you know, when you're there, you know, because really that's like, hey, here's my new art set, or even a fashion show, right? It's like, here, come to this show and enjoy the show, you know, and then people are expected to buy it. Maybe not right then and there, but maybe down the road for a fashion show or an art gallery or an art show where you're featuring a specific artist, or maybe a collaboration of artists, where, you know, people are walking around having a good time, but they're all will have little price stickers, you know. And the same thing with networking groups, you know, meetups, you know, everyone goes, and there might be a small attendance fee, but everyone in there that walks in, well, I say almost everyone, has the intent to wanting to sell to someone else, you know? So why is it when you take that same mentality, which I'm pretty sure everyone here has had or has attended a networking group, why is it you could take that same mentality, or cannot take that same mentality and apply it to a different medium like a webinar or something, and all of a sudden you get completely offended?
That's a darn good question.
Yeah.
However, I in terms of networking, I know that people. I mean, I've heard people say, and I've said myself, I don't go to a networking event to buy anything. I go to a networking event to make contacts. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it's fair to be.
So maybe the sales cycle isn't right away. It's like a little bit longer term, right? So, but you know, yeah, get your contact. That's a thing. That's a really good point, right? Is to network and meet people. It's the same thing with a lead opt-in, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing about these networking groups that has gotten skewed in the wrong direction over time, because the goal there is you'll do better as the person that everyone knows they can go to because you know who can do X. Mm-hmm. But if you're the guy that's known as the one that's always showing up, dropping the business card in the pocket and say, hey, just to remind you, I got this available. Come on over to the store or the shop or the website or whatever. At that point, the others in that networking group or meetup or whatever, after a while, if you're there with the same people after a while, you'll notice that you have to go to other people more because they're not coming to you, and there's a reason.
Because they know you're going to try to sell them. Or is it
So, you know, it's a mentality that needs to be corrected if you have that tendency. And if you don't have that tendency, then you need to know that you're on the right track, because it's about know, like, and trust, even in a network group. I'm not going to refer you if you do something that I know someone needs if I don't know, like, and trust you, because my reputation is now on the line. So even if I'm the guy that everybody goes to that says, hey, who does X? Y is not going to get referred because of. So,
yeah, it's all realtors, investment advisors, and life coaches now, right?
So, you know, and the same thing comes over when you're offering stuff, whether for an email or in a webinar or something like that. It's still a know, like, and trust. So, and like Vivek and Jay both have brought out, there's a path that you got to take to get them there. And the yin and the yang approach, or it's my favorite, since we're going on this, is like Grant, Jay's pointed out in his comment earlier, is, okay, at the end, I know you're going to sell me something, but wait, I'm going to add this X amount of value. I'm going to add this X amount of value. Whose value? And why should it be my value? You know, is that what you get every time, or is that just so you can justify the cut rate? These are questions that go through my mind right away. And so there's that path that needs to be taken down, because it's like Vivek said, the person consuming whatever is the one that assigns the value. And these questions are going to be going through their mind. Why is it that value? Why is it worth that much? What makes it, you know, where is the cost versus benefit, justification, explanation, and why should I trust you that it's this value?
So as we talk about offering things at no cost and developing the trust and so forth, so this whole idea of engagement, which seems to be the thing that we some of us crave more in our online activities, is the engagement part. There's a relationship there, or I guess it is part of the trust piece. But is there something more to the whole engagement piece when it comes to doing work online?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think Alana wants to chime in there.
Yeah, it just occurred to me while I was listening to Tim talk that a lot of times when you're looking for something online and you may opt into this free offer or not, 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking about the way I buy my stuff myself. It's not so much that you're going to take what they're offering you. You're going to take perhaps a recommendation from someone else who says that product has use or value. Do you know what I mean? You want, and I guess it goes back to the trust factor, that you either have to build up trust with the person you're getting the information from to begin with, or you're going to accept a recommendation from someone you already do trust.
So that's the value of engagement?
I'm thinking, yeah.
Well, you know what? The mob's been doing it for years, for vouching for someone else, you know, I mean, and it's worked for them for hundreds of years. So, but in terms of the value of engagement, I think it's really important to have a clear funnel of communication within whatever it is you're delivering. So whether it be a webinar, whether it be an email series, and obviously it's going to be more challenging with an email series, but you can just say in an email, oh, hey, just reply to let me know you've done this, you know. And within my own email funnel, about 20% actually end up hitting the reply button, you know, so which is great. And I'm working on improving that metric, but you know, people know it's an autoresponder series, so but they still reply, which is pretty cool. So I think that there's engagement there, you know, and I think also if you're doing a live presentation, a webinar, or it's a pre-recorded one, I think it's really important because that's going to build trust so that when you hit them with whatever you're going to sell them, whenever that happens, then it's kind of goes like, well, you know what, I trust that person because they're talking to me. They're not like the Wizard of Id on this stand talking down to their disciples, you know. They're in the crowd with me, talking with me eye level, eye to eye, right? You know, one thing that I've noticed that Tony Robbins Tony Robbins is starting to do now, and I think a lot of other people are going to start doing it, is that he's now going into the crowd versus standing on his stage and clapping his hands and jumping on his trampoline and stuff. He's now in the lion's pit, you know, he's in the lion's den there in with everyone else. And I think that's put a new form of respect on him, because his shtick is kind of getting redundant. So him getting into that crowd and talking to people one-on-one at his events I think that's a pretty rad scenario because it takes him to that next level. So, and I think a lot of other speakers should follow along and do that, you know.
So I love that that whole idea of that there are many ways to offer engagement, as you mentioned. You know, inviting people to add a comment or push reply on something, or engaging one-on-one within a large group, or engaging in what we're doing here. I mean, this is total engagement, isn't it? Yeah. So
imagine this show without any engagement. Imagine it's just you or
I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine it just. I know that. Well, then it would be just a broadcast, wouldn't it? Exactly.
You know, ever since, like inside Wealthy Affiliate, ever since we added the live chat elements to the webinars, it's you know, been a total game changer. I mean, it's made it more challenging for me, but as the broadcaster, yeah, certainly it's created, you know, having that engagement is people attend more. People, you know, people are telling me, oh, they don't go to the bar on Fridays anymore. They come and hang out with Jay and online, and so it's like,
and some people go to bed and have a nap so that
I know, right? Like there's people in Europe that get up, like have a nap, and then they get up at 1 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, it's awesome. It's so humbling.
Well, and I might just add to that, because this past Friday I was unable to attend your session live, so I went and listened to it, and it really isn't the same. I mean, not only can you not see the comments when you're just watching the video, but there is something. There's an energy that happens when everybody's there and interacting. So and to me, it's the energy or the synergy or energy that happens between people. And it strikes me that getting back to why we do things the way we do online or whatever, it's speaking to that need, I think. Yeah. So we are about 2 minutes from the top of the hour. I'm trying to be as disciplined as I can with our time, because I know everybody has other commitments. So just before we close, is there any parting shot that anybody would like to add before we close?
Add perceived value to your offers. Avoid the use of the word free, and stick a price tag on your products, because then that will increase the perceived value. You know, the manufactured suggested retail price is, you know, hey, listen, Bob Barker did it for years, right?
Yeah, right.
Adjusted retail price is.
Right.
And contrary to what Vivek was saying, I think there's no harm in putting a price tag on a product because that's going to increase the perceived value.
Right.
Right. If you say, well, you know what, I'm going to give this to you for free. What do you think the value of the product is?
Yeah.
That value will be much less. Whereas if you say, you know what, the value or my price to this course is $1,000 because here are the reasons why. What do you think the value is? You know, and the people are going to say, you know, 900, 1100, 1200 versus, you know, a much lower price when you say it's free today, right? But what do you think the value is? So.
Okay, Jay, you have challenged me. I'm going to go on my website and I'm going to put something up there and watch it for the next 2 or 3 weeks and see what effect it has.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing the results. So, yeah, absolutely.
So, in that vein, Lolan, we've all heard the story of the guy who puts the fridge on his front curb and says free, and it sits there for 5 days, and he puts a sign on it, $50, and it's gone.
Stolen or paid for?
He didn't care. Nobody wanted it when it was free, but if it had $50 on it, it was gone.
It was valuable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good lesson for us all to think about. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I'm going to share my screen and walk us out.